In this video, we're going to talk about how to be active, constructive, how to improve your relationships by capitalizing on the positive things that people tell you about that are going on in their lives, and writing a reflection to do that. And this is some of my favorite research, probably in all of positive psychology, because I think sometimes even those of us who intend to be really helpful in conversations can tend to respond in ways that our friends or loved ones don't find very helpful. So first, again, as always, click on the PDF here and download the assignment. And what we're going to look at is this idea of capitalization. And so, of course, we all have individuals who are close to us, who tell us positive things that happen in their life. And then we have to respond to that. And what we find is that the way that we respond to a person's a person telling us about their good news really impacts our relationships. And actually, if you go in and Google active constructive and look at the images, you'll see all these different images that say basically the same thing. So imagine someone tells you that they just got a new raise at their work. So that's good news. There's 4 different ways that you could respond. So you could be active or passive, and you could be constructive or deconstructive. So an active person might say, like, "That's amazing. Tell me more. How did you make that happen?" Active deconstructive response might be, "Wow, are you in for a big surprise? You're way out of your area of expertise. You got the new job and the big money, but you're not able to do it." A very nice but passive way might just say, "That's nice," and then a destructive passive way might just ignore the problem and basically say, "What happened to you doesn't matter. It's what happened to me," or "I guess what happened to me today," or "What's for dinner," or something like that. There's a sort of another way of looking at sort of active constructive responding as sort of being either enthusiastic in your response, active deconstructive, actually pointing out the problem. So someone tells you something good, you tell them about all the bad. You can be supportive but kind of silent, or again, deconstructive and passive, almost failing to acknowledge the other person is even speaking. So this is a little bit of a different task. It's a little bit hard. Some students have mentioned that this doesn't go as easily as they might expect. And part of that is because you either need to elicit a person to give you positive news or sort of wait for them to do that. If you're going to do the task, sometimes people find it just to be easier to say, "Hey, what was one good thing that happened to you today?" What I would suggest is if the other person doesn't seem interested in talking or doesn't really have something to say, don't try and force it. It can get sort of awkward if you're like, "No, really, seriously, what happened that's great for you today?" It shouldn't take very long, but remember that when they tell you good things, that you want to be active and constructive in your speaking. So make good eye contact with the individual. Don't be looking down at your phone or sort of staring off somewhere else. Show that you're interested in what they're talking about, engage in what they have to say. Even if you're not a smiler, try to express positive emotions through smiling. Some people even cheer. I mean, when my wife tells me that something good happened to her, I might be like, "Yeah, that's amazing." Try and say, comments that sound enthusiastic, like, "That's great," or "You must be so excited," or "I know that that the hard work is definitely paying off." And then try and actually ask sort of constructive questions to find out more about it. So you might ask a person to tell you more details about whatever their good news is, or what she feels or what he feels especially proud about, or how it sort of felt when the good event actually occurred. And then try and make sure that you have positive implications, positive benefits associated with the event. So you might say something like, "This might even make you have a better chance of getting another promotion next year," something like that. So sometimes people also say that they feel phony or scripted. When we have had other individuals tell us about when the person is being active constructive, they don't feel that way. So again, if the person seems to be enjoying the conversation, you probably won't come off as phony or scripted. So this may be one of those that you have to sort of look for the right opportunity. It's not like the gratitude letters where you can just sit down and do it on your own. You need another person to be involved. When the person has finally finished their conversation, you feel like you've been as active and constructive as possible. You want to write a reflection, right? So look at sort of what was the event. How did you respond? How did you try and be active? How did you try and be constructive? What sort of was your friends or romantic partners or family members' reaction to your listening style? Is this something that's very different than the way that you normally talk? Did the conversation go sort of how you thought it would go in your head? Did it go better or did it go worse? It feels like there's anything that you could have said that was better. You maybe really wish you had phrased something a little bit differently. Did you feel that the conversation was enjoyable, at least for you? And you can even ask them if it's enjoyable for them. That could be something that you put into your write-up. And do you feel that you grew closer to this person as a result of that conversation? Do you feel like maybe this can be something that you can put into sort of your emotional carry-on bag that you can sort of open up and use in any sort of moment when you want to try and feel closer to another person? Anyway, I think this is a great and really interesting activity. Do feel out how the person is being receptive. Don't try and force anything, and really enjoy the process.